So Game 2 of the NBA Finals is now in the books, with the Warriors tying the series at 1-1 heading back to Boston. And this game looked like it was going to be a great game going into halftime. But once again, in signature Warriors fashion, they pull away with a big third quarter. And end it with Jordan Poole hitting an amazing half-court shot. And I said in my other recap that he needed to step up, and he definitely did in that third quarter. One person who I said needed to who didn't was Klay Thompson, but I don't know if we'll see him as himself ever again. He just hasn't looked great in these playoffs at all. But once again, Steph Curry has a great game, and with the Celtics defending him differently this game, he had to do it in different ways. He was not getting easy shots like he was in the first quarter of Game 1. So great performance from him, especially defensively. I have not seen him play defense like that before. And he was just hustling all over the floor. But for the Celtics side, just a terrible performance in the second half. Marcus Smart coming with 2 points in the entire game, and Al Horford as well with 2 points. Those were two guys who came up big in Game 1 and were the reason the Celtics won. And Jaylen Brown has to have a consistent game. He can't just be going on these stretches where he gets 8 straight points and then falls off. Derek White, though, had a solid first half, but once again, he fell off. Jason Tatum was the only consistent offensive force for the Celtics this game. But the main story of this game is the Warriors' defense. Completely clamping the Celtics in the second half, especially that third quarter. They could not get anything going. I mean, the Celtics had to pull all their starters at the start of the fourth quarter. They were getting blown out so bad. So this is a very fitting NBA Finals for this playoffs, just back and forth blowouts to a Game 7. But in the future in the series, the Celtics role players should be better heading back to Boston, home crowd on their side, and we'll see how the series progresses. But the Celtics defense collapsed in that third quarter. Way too many open looks for the Warriors, and I understand you can only stop them to a certain extent, but that was just atrocious. They were not executing their defensive game plan at all. And I might add how Draymond Green is the only player who can do what he does and not get technicals. Like, even in the series, players get technicals for things, and then Draymond Green does the same thing, if not worse, and the refs don't bat an eye. But I guess that's the privilege you get when you do it after every dead ball. He's also the only player to analyze the game on a podcast right after it. Not a lot of people talk about that, but looking back on it, we're going to think that's absolutely crazy. But that leads us to my player of the game, Stephen Curry. Clocking in with 29 points, 4 assists, and 5 threes. And as I already mentioned, his defensive efforts. Now, the main reason the Warriors had a huge third quarter was due to fixing all their defensive breakdowns. In the first half, the Celtics were left wide open for so many layups and wide open for some threes. And none of that happened in that third quarter. Celtics got to fix all their turnovers. They had way too many in this game, every single player. Now, my keys to the series for these teams moving on, we'll start with the Warriors. Basically, just do what you did this game, which is try to get as many mismatches with the Boston Celtics switching as possible, and then exploit them. Not much else to say. I mean, obviously hit your shots. Warriors are doing that tonight. And it's hard to stop them when they are. Another key for them is Klay Thompson. He's got to be more efficient. Even if he's not scoring a ton of points, you can't take that many shots. I understand they were trying to get him going, but it's just not working. He's just got to be himself. Now, my keys for the Celtics: stop turning the ball over. Warriors had so many easy transition opportunities, and it really costed your team. The inconsistent shooting should fix itself. If it doesn't, that's obviously another key. Hit your shots. And in the half court, they need to stop running just straight ISO ball. Run some actions. You have way too many good players to be doing that. And when you are in the ISO game, Jason Tatum has to do it on his terms. He had way too many mismatches tonight that he just did not utilize. He was letting a smaller defender do whatever he wants to him and chucking up a bad shot. But yeah, that's basically all my takeaways from this game. Warriors tie it up 1-1 in Game 2, heading back to Boston. Hopefully we finally get a good game and a good series, hopefully. If we have a good finals, it'll be just like 2016, where people forget how bad that playoffs kind of was. Those two teams kind of ran through their conference, and it was a great final, so people forget about that, and they call it the greatest, one of the greatest ever. But yeah, I'll see you on the next video.